Welcome, it's Kevin Subbeck, Chief Safety Officer for S3 Consultants, and we're continuing on to our final module, Module 5 of the FAA OSHA Memorandum of Understanding, and this is the Hazard Communication Program. And this program is just an awareness. We're not going to develop or build a hazard communication program from this short video. It's just to make you aware of how this impacts you as an owner or manager of a small aviation company, Alaska or anywhere in the United States. The agenda slide is next, and just to let you know where we're going, so we won't cover this too much. But again, this is just awareness. We're not building programs with this. And just a reminder of the FAA OSHA Memorandum of Understanding. Again, 2014 HAZCOM is one of the three standards that impacts the aircraft in operation. OSHA Standard 1910-1030, and it's a pretty big program, pretty complex. If you're using solvents to maintain your aircraft, you should already have a HAZCOM program as part of your safety program. So HAZCOM, an introduction: if your company has any chemicals on board the aircraft, employees have the right to know about the hazards of the chemicals they're handling or being exposed to. Okay, this is separate from dangerous goods. When you're moving dangerous goods, addresses some of the hazards, how to pack it, how to make sure safe transport. This is for the employees because of right to know laws that are built into the OSHA standards. And so they have a right to know what they're handling and what they'll be dealing with. And so it should come with the safety data sheet and tell the employee of the hazards and any medical treatment if they're exposed to the hazardous chemical. For example, I'll give an example of bearing error. Some miner out in the middle of nowhere got sodium cyanide shipped to Nome, and now he needs you to move it out there to wherever they're at, and they can't access it by road. It has to be flown to them. And so maybe they want a couple of 55-gallon drums of kerosene or fuel, whatever. And so you're moving all these hazardous chemicals, and the employee has a right to know. And so it has to come with the safety data sheet, and they have to know what the first aid procedures are in case of an exposure. But to get there, you have to have the elements of the HAZCOM program complete and the employees trained. So the elements of the program are hazard identification, labeling, safety data sheets, employee training, and a written hazard communication program. And like I said, if you're already dealing with stuff and you meet the requirements of OSHA to have safety programs based on number of employees, then you'll have to do the employee training, and this is one of the more complex one, which does require testing to ensure employee knowledge of the program before they can start handling chemicals. So for the example of bearing error and sodium cyanide, because the miners out there extracting gold using it, the employee has to know what the hazards are, what the first aid procedures are, and like I said, there's all sorts of data necessary for the employee that's on the safety data sheet. And they have to know how to read it. So they have to have the employee training, and it has to be documented, it has to be retained. And again, most people use a three-ring binder to save their safety data sheets, because you're supposed to have whatever you're handling on record. And this is separate from a dangerous goods program. We'll talk about that in a later video. Elements of a HAZCOM program: hazard identification, safety data sheets, labeling, employee training, and a written HAZCOM program. And hazard identification is done by the chemical manufacturer, and the information can be found on the safety data sheet. So whenever they ship a chemical, it will come with a safety data sheet, or you'll be able to find it on their website. It's important to keep a record of all chemicals used or stored by your company and all SDS associated with those chemicals. Failure to properly label chemicals is one of the most common citations with OSHA, so just a heads up. Employee training needs education on how to read the SDS. For important information how to properly handle hazardous chemicals, they may need PPE of some type, eyewear, gloves, mask. Only the SDS will tell you that. And a written HAZCOM program, again, with training, and you have to save the training for so many months, and they have to take a test. So in summary, it's one of the more complex. Maybe the shipping of the sodium cyanide is not the best example, but for some reason, as part of their job, they're in the back of the aircraft, and they have to handle a hazardous material, a chemical performance of their job while the aircraft is in operation. So the reason it isn't specific is because the OSHA and the FAA don't know each and every one of your operations, and so you have to tailor it to your operations. And again, if you have any questions, drop them down below and contact us if you want us to help either build you a program or evaluate your program to make sure it's working. And you can contact us at S3 Consultants. We'll drop the link below and you can ask any questions. And again, Kevin Subbeck with S3 Consultants, Chief Safety Officer, and let us help you make your system safer.